Good evening, everyone. Welcome to No Judgment Here with Tish Ross, the podcast. We are live, and I thank you so much for being here. We are getting ready to talk about such an important topic. I don't think that we are as fully aware, prepared, knowledgeable. I don't think that we really grasp the sense of urgency until we meet somebody or somebody who knows somebody that has had a cancer scare or has cancer or who is fighting cancer or maybe walking around and doesn't know that they have cancer. And I thank you guys for coming in. One thing, just to let you know, Julie McKissick, Randy McKissick are some dear friends of mine, and they were coming on along with another guest, a new friend. I'm happy to call a friend of mine, Natalie. She is still coming on, but Julie and Randy are still at the doctor's office. I'm going to read what she messaged me. She said that she is still at the doctor's office with her ultrasound for them to see if she has cancer in her thyroid. She asked if we could still do the podcast with Natalie. And of course we are, because Natalie has been so gracious enough to say yes to come on and to share her story. Very raw and very real, transparent, vulnerable story with her cancer. And Julie says that she wants to hear Natalie's story. She knows little bits and pieces, but she doesn't know all of it. She didn't know when she was going to be done, but she's going to be watching and listening. And the doctor sprung this procedure on to her. She didn't know. She knew she had some nodules, but she didn't know if this was going to be a big deal for her. She guesses that he is checking everything anyway. And she just wanted me to relay to all of you guys that she will come on when she is done and she has another time to do this. So, Julie and Randy, I know that you are listening, and I want you guys to know that it's totally okay. And I'm super excited that we got to meet or connect with Natalie. Thank you, Julie, for connecting me with Natalie, because there's a reason for it. We all have our own stories, and Natalie's story was meant to share, and not to say that yours isn't, but God has a time for yours, Julie, and it will come, and I know that. So I'm going to bring Natalie on. I just wanted to first share that we are not it's sort of a disclaimer, I guess. We're not doctors. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a physician. We are human beings that are coming on to share our stories. So if you feel a nudge after hearing these stories, please follow that nudge. Listen to your body, and go and see your doctor to get tests ran, or whatever it is that you need to do to get checked out. So I just want to share that disclaimer. And I'm going to bring Natalie in. I'm meeting her tonight along with you guys. And so we're going to hear her story fresh, real, and raw. There she is. Welcome in, Natalie.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. And you and I both know that if Julie's not listening, Julie and Randy, if they're not listening now because she had a procedure that the doctor sprung on her, she said, I know for sure they'll be tuning in, or they will listen later. But this is such an important topic. And I don't think that I could hear enough about it, because they are all seem to be very similar in some ways and very different in some ways, right?
Right.
Um, my brother himself is suffering from cancer. He too has tumors that he's been on chemotherapy for quite some time. And while they are not growing, they're not shrinking either. And they have to shrink in order for the doctors to be able to remove them, for him to even be able to have radiation. Um, and because of the place that they are at. So they're in a dangerous spot, and there's nothing that the doctors can do until they shrink. And so that's where we are at. And I think it started with some stomach pain. Natalie, I'm so glad that you agreed to come on and share, because there are so many people. And like I was saying, in the intro that there are I think people with cancer have similar stories, but cancer have very different stories. And I think if someone hears, hey, this is what was going on with me, maybe they're facing something similar and maybe they need to go and just get checked out, So we're meeting you for the first time as well. And tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are. Are you married? Do you have children? And then what your scare, sort of how it started.
Okay. So I do have two children. I have two daughters, and one is 19 and one is 17. She's a senior, and my older one has a baby. So I have a grandson. I have a husband, and I'm in the healthcare field actually. I've been a medical assistant for almost 17 years in OB-GYN. The doctor that I worked for a very long time passed away of breast cancer. So
Oh,
no one is safe. No one is safe.
and let me ask you this. I'm sorry to interrupt. Did he know? Did he get checked out? And I asked that because he's a man with breast cancer and a doctor.
No, it's a she. It was
Oh,
a woman doctor.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, the way that she said she was always so busy checking on everybody else to make sure they didn't have it. She wasn't doing her own exams and, her own breast exams.
Mm.
So it's very important that you do that in the shower, you know, anytime, at least once a month, you need to do that.
Absolutely. And, and I was saying men, so maybe God just had me blurt that out. But men, you as well, you're not immune to breast cancer
No.
either. So wow, I am so sorry. How old was she?
She was early 50s.
My
She was in
goodness.
her early 50s, yeah.
So
Yep,
still
and
young.
she
So
had. Mhm.
uh, how did she so she wasn't really checking herself, she wasn't doing her exams like she should. How did
Mhm.
she find out? Or
She actually did go for a mammogram, and so by that time, it was already too late for her.
my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm so sorry. So you work for OBG, then have you always been in good health? Have you always taken care of yourself, eat right,
Yes.
athletic? Does that matter? I mean, who knows? Talk a little bit
It
about
probably plays a part. I'm not very athletic, but I do try to eat right. I do eat pretty good. And so ever since I would say probably about 15 years ago, after I had my daughter, my youngest daughter, um my periods just went crazy. I mean, I was bleeding out so much, and I went to the doctor and they said it's PCOS. You have PCOS. And so I've just thought that my whole life, because they're like, it's going to be hard for you to lose weight. There's no treatment for PCS. There's no cure for PCS. They try to give you metformin, and pack you down with all these things that are not, doesn't get to the root cause. It just, it's just a band aid.
Can you
Um,
share with some of the listeners what PCOS is?
So PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and basically where you get like a string of pearls on your ovaries. You get ovarian cyst, and I believe it's like every month when you ovulate and you release the egg, they don't release; they just stay where they're at, and so you
Mm.
get a whole bunch of them on top of each other, and it makes you, gain weight. It's hard to lose weight. Your metabolism slows down. You get hair in places that you probably wouldn't. Um, just it causes you to be insulin resistant, different things like that. And so
Wow.
I was told that. Um, and that was about 2010. And so then in 2012, so I'm kind of going way back. So in 2012, I went for a pap smear, and I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, cervical dysplasia. So this was going back. And they were able to do a procedure where they were able to do like a cone biopsy and get all the cancer, the abnormal cells. And so I didn't have to have a surgery or anything at that time. And so I had to go every 3 months for a pap smear for a year. And then the second year, I had to go every 6 months. So I had to go twice that year. And then after that, they resumed to every year. And ever since that scare, I have never missed a pap smear. I always stay on time with my pap smears.
Mhm.
And so that brings me to this last year, 2024. So I started gaining weight around my belly. And I'm a grandma now, so I was thinking, okay, well, shit, maybe this is normal.
Mm.
And I'm just getting to that older age, and it's just gonna, I got to do something about it.
Mhm.
And so then I would notice that I couldn't lay flat on my belly, because I like to sit on the floor, and I lay on the floor a lot, and I noticed that I couldn't lay flat on my belly. It would hurt. So I'm like, okay, if I'm just chubby, it shouldn't hurt.
Right.
And so I was just like, thinking nothing of it. I just kind of thinking I'm gaining weight and things like that. And so I went for my pap smear, and I all the way from back in 2010 till now, I've been having blood clots. I mean, on my cycle, it is so bad. Like, I have severe blood loss. I'm severe anemic. I'm going to the hospital every month because I'm losing so much blood.
And I'm very interested in this. My daughter actually has PCOS. And so as you are um having just these horrible menstrual cycles, and you have PCOS, is your doctor, are you trying different different types of birth controls to regulate? Are they saying, as you are just bleeding out, are they saying, maybe you should have a hysterectomy? Are they suggesting types of medications?
Yeah, they suggested the metformin, and I didn't want to do that. And so then
What
they
is that?
suggested putting metformin is actually what they give for people with diabetes that are insulin resistant. So they started trying to give me that, but that has terrible side effects. Then they wanted me to get on birth control, and I wasn't comfortable doing that because I mean, I've just heard so many bad things about that, which birth control definitely works for some people.
Mhm.
But I just didn't want to do that. And so I was kind of just prolonging it until the point where I started having heart problems. And
Mm.
this falls in with that too, because I was so severe anemic and losing so much blood that my heart was it couldn't keep up with the amount of blood loss. So then
Wow.
I start having palpitations, I start having tachycardia. This just snowballed into a big O thing, like just a huge ordeal.
Wow.
So this is where it all started in 2024 in April. After about a day after my cycle, my heart just started beating fast. It just took off one day, and
Mm.
I couldn't slow it down. I would go to the ER, and they're like, "Oh, it's just anxiety," and I'm like, "No, I have anxiety. I know what anxiety is. This is not that. This is something else. It's just happening on its own. There's nothing that's causing this to happen."
Mm.
And so, I went to the ER probably 4 or 5 times, and they thought I was a nut, like, oh, she's just coming in here because she's got anxiety. And again, brushed off. They just keep brushing you off. Then they want to put you on metoprolol, beta blockers. So I'm like, I know my body. I know that something is going on with my body. I've never had this before. But by this time, I mean, your normal hemoglobin is supposed to be between I believe it's like a 13 up to like a 16. My hemoglobin's at a 7.
Oh my gosh.
So I have severe volume loss of blood. And so at this time I go and see a cardiologist, and the cardiologist is is like, it's not due to anemia. It's not due to anemia. But the doctor in the ER that finally listened to me on like the fifth time of me going said he used to work in OB-GYN, and this could definitely be what's causing it. My period. So I'm like, okay, finally somebody listened to me. Finally somebody is taking me serious and not just thinking that I have anxiety or wanting to throw me on medication. He's
Mhm.
telling me you're gonna have to get your blood up. Like, you're gonna have to, and so then he prescribed me a big old pill bottle full of iron pills.
Mhm.
So I'm taking 3 iron pills a day and tearing my stomach up. So it's just getting worse and worse. And so then it comes time for my pap smear. And I'm like, okay, this is time where I need to speak up and tell them, like, I don't want any more kids. I'm not having any more kids. like I have to do something because I'm gonna die. Like
Mm.
my heart's gonna give out. I couldn't even hardly walk upstairs without. I mean, I have four steps on my house. Couldn't get in the house without my heart beating fast. And
Oh gosh. So, um, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. My brain starts, all these questions start going. So during this time, if you can, if you can remember, how are you feeling? Because, and the reason I ask this is because I worked in the hospital district for a while and would go and visit patients. And there was a particular gentleman who said, when I walked in, he said, "Can you help me?" And it breaks my heart. I said, "Well, what's going on?" And I was actually just a care coordinator. And so after he was going to be discharged from the hospital, I was just coordinating his care afterwards. But he said, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Oh, what can I help you with?" I was thinking, "Can I get you a blanket? Do you need some more water? Something like that. Do you need help to the bathroom?" And he said, "Can you talk to my doctor or my nurse because no one is listening to me?"
Mhm.
Um, I know my body, and I feel like these doctors are just treating me like every other patient and trying to prescribe things. And he said, and the last thing that he prescribed, it's not affecting me the way that it has taken effect on other people. And this doctor is telling me, yes, it is, and it's working. You're just not wanting to believe that it's working. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm telling you, it's not working. Can you help me?" And I wanted to crumble right there. I mean, who am I? I'm a care coordinator, and
Yeah.
they're gonna listen to me. This is not even a member of my family. So I say all that to ask you, how are you feeling as you're going to the ER multiple times? Your body. They're trying to tell you that it's anxiety. Everybody keeps turning you away. They think you're nuts. And how are you? So I just guess I want to get into the emotional. How are you feeling emotionally? Do you remember how you were feeling?
Yeah, I was feeling drained. I
Hmm.
was feeling drained. I was feeling lost. I was feeling sad because I've worked in the medical field for so long. And I mean, people's problems do get brushed off. They get brushed off, brushed under the rug. Just give them medicine, medicine, medicine. Nobody gets to the root cause. And I was determined to get to my own root cause of what was going on because if you ask anybody that knows me, I do not take medication. I don't like it. I barely will take a Tylenol or an aspirin. So
Mm,
shoving beta blockers and metformin diabetic pills down my throat was not going to work for me.
mm,
It
gotcha.
wasn't going to work, and I was feeling very depressed. It was one of the darkest times of my life.
Mm. I could imagine. I could imagine it would be very dark because no one's listening to you,
Mhm.
and it's just even that. I mean, that it saddens me to know that, here you are trying to get to the root of what's going on with your body, and nobody will listen to you. And um we go to physicians and doctors and nurses and just people that we are supposed to trust to find out what's going on, to help us figure out, why is this happening to my body?
Yes.
And to be not listened to, and to be turned away and sent home, and let's put you on this and let's put you on that. There are many thousands, countless millions of people who unfortunately aren't a Natalie, and they just listen to the doctor and they'll take it, and it's not getting to the root cause. And so
Yeah.
that it breaks my heart. It's hard for me to speak about, but so you're finally going in, and the doctor, or you see your OBGYN. You said there were blood clots, and they're finally talking about a hysterectomy. You're not going to have any more children. And
And so at this, okay, so I just wanted to add to that is that the cardiologist made me wear heart monitors. I had to go get an echocardiogram on my heart. My heart structure was fine. Everything looked fine. So whenever I saw that my heart structure was fine and everything else looked fine, there was, and the heart monitor didn't pick up anything like that. So anything that was worrisome. And so if something was truly wrong with my heart, then it would have picked it up at least once or twice. So I knew that this had to be a secondary to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to go back and say that. And so in December is when I go to my OB-GYN. And she's a new OB-GYN, not my same one because I moved. And I went to her and she said, "Oh, you have PCOS." And because she looked in my chart, she said, "Oh, you have PCOS." She gives me a big pamphlet this big of 50 pages that I'm not going to read, something they printed off of the internet, and said, "Here, take this. It has diets and it has exercises and it has this and that you can do." And she did my pap smear, and when she was doing my pap smear, she said she pushed down, and it hurt. It hurt really bad when she pushed down. And she said, "You have an enlarged uterus. It feels larger than normal." And that just really scared. I get scared like when things like that, because I'm always trying to take care of my body. So that really scared me, because I've been realizing I couldn't lay on my stomach anymore. You know, I was having I mean, the pain with my cycle was unreal. Like, my husband would see me doubled over on the ground bawling, and I would have heating pad, I would have anything that I could think of that would help, and it wouldn't help. So when she said your uterus is enlarged, I want to send you for a sonogram. And so this was very end of December, and they got me in for a sonogram or ultrasound probably within a week.
Mm.
So I go in and get the ultrasound, and the person doing the ultrasound, okay, in the medical field, the ultrasound person is not supposed to tell you anything. They're
Right.
supposed to do your scan and give it to the doctor. She was doing my scan and she said, "Wow, that looks big and angry." And I'll never forget what she said, because it scared the daylights out of me. And I'm just thinking, what is it? And then of course she's like, I can't tell you. You like, the doctor's gonna give you a call. So I'm like, look, just at this point, just tell me. You've already said
Yeah.
something's big and angry. So what is it? She says you have a very large mass. So she doesn't say cyst or anything like that. It's mass. You have a large mass that looks big and scary and solid.
My gosh.
So whenever they look at your reproductive system and they see a cyst that's fluid filled, then that's a cyst. That's what they usually refer to as a cyst. When it has solid components, it's a mass.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you
So,
for
mhm,
explaining that. Not only for our listeners, but for me as well, because I used to always wonder, some people will say, "Oh, I have cysts." And then when people
mhm,
say I have a mass, and I'm like, what's the difference? But
yeah.
okay, so she's telling you that it looks angry, and did she tell you that it was a mass?
Yeah, she said you have a huge mass, and I said, and I just remember like panicking and asking her, "Does it look like cancer? Does it look, like how big is it? Like, what's the size?" And she was like, "Oh, you have another one over here on this side, and it's about 6 centimeters, and the big one was 12 centimeters big, so it was about the size of a grapefruit."
Oh my gosh.
And at this time, I'm just like panicking. My husband's in the waiting room, and I have to go back out here and tell him they just found two masses in my on my ovaries, And so it's enough trying to take in all this information at one time. So then I go out. I remember just like I didn't even feel connected with reality anymore at that point.
Mhm,
Like, it
mhm,
just felt like I was living someone else's life, like in a dream, a nightmare.
mhm.
So I go outside and I tell my husband, and of course, men don't really know about that. So he's just like, "What is it? Oh, it's probably nothing. It's nothing." Um, Later that, I would say maybe the next day, the report came in, because, and I don't know about where you're from, but out here in East Texas, we have a thing called My Chart. And for some reason, they like to get the results in that chart before they even talk to the patient. Which,
Oh,
people love to have their results, but when it's a bad result, you want to talk to a doctor first, because it can come in on a Friday and you might not can talk to a doctor till Monday. So then you
right.
have to stew in that all weekend long. And I believe that's what happened. It happened. She ended up calling me on a Friday, and she said she actually didn't even call me. The doctor didn't. She sent me a message on my chart, and she said, "Hey, we need to get you scheduled for some cancer blood work. I'm going out of town. Please schedule it with my office." This is
No
exactly
way.
what that's what the message said. And I told my husband, and I said, I cannot believe she didn't call me to tell me anything, like anything about the sonogram. Just, hey, we need you to go get cancer blood work. So I fired her. I fired
I'm
her as my doctor.
sure. I that is, I don't even have the words. I mean, aside from unprofessional, why how is that's not even okay. How could a doctor think, I mean, and again, working in the hospital district and knowing the hospital lists and knowing all the behind about the insurance and all that crap, it sucks.
Yeah.
And booting people out and, "Oh, they've got a good insurance, let's keep them," and I hate that crap.
Mhm.
But, to know that, I mean, it just seems like so complacent, so, numb,
Yeah, it was.
and, but on the other side of it, though, you have a human being who is scared to death, not
Hmm.
complacent, not numb, doesn't know what's happening,
Right. And
and
all I wanted was some kind of answer, some kind of little bit of hope to hold on to, and she would not give that at all. She wasn't going to do it. So at this point, I'm pretty much going insane. Like I've already written myself off because I have no idea what's going on, what's gonna happen next. So I go, and she wants. Okay, so then at this point, she wanted to see me back, and I said, I will not ever come back to you. I will not
Mhm.
ever come back to you. You going out of town was more important, because I think she ended up following up with me like a week later when she got back, and I had already even sent her a message and was like, hey, can you tell me anything about my sonogram? um and she's like, she never wrote back. And so at this point, I fired her as my doctor, and I found another doctor. And so this was early in January of 2025. And so, yeah, I was reading that comment.
Yeah.
So this is early January of 2025. And so I started asking around the hospital that I work at, and trying to get a gynecologist that somebody might know that's that might be a good fit for me. And so I make an appointment at this doctor's office, and they get me in February. So now I'm already like a month and a half out from my original sonogram. But I did forget to say that during this time I had pain in my back, and I went to the ER. So I went to the ER December like 28th, and they thought it was a kidney stone, so they wanted to do a CT scan. When they did the CT scan, they found the masses, and of course the ER doctor, she came in and talked to me, and she said that it was just a solid mass. It was 12 centimeters big, the same as what I had been told. And so she said that they didn't see anything like other places in my body or spread or anything like that, but I
Mhm.
didn't get injected with dye, so she really couldn't tell me anything either. So I go to my appointment in February for this doctor, and she says, I want to do a sonogram of my own. And I said, please, because up to this point, I still have no idea really what's going on. She said, I have a
Yeah.
sonogram in house that I can do your own, sonogram here. And so she looks at it and she says, okay, it looks like the masses are still there, and I want to get you scheduled for surgery. Do you want your reproductive parts? You're not trying to have a baby or anything like that, right? And I said, no, at this point, I want everything out. So she goes, okay, I'm going to send you for cancer blood work. So she still wanted to do the cancer blood work. So that day, I do the cancer blood work in her office, and she called me the next day and said it was high. That it came back, my CA 125, which is a tumor marker for ovarian cancer, came back high.
Mm.
And it just kept getting, it felt like it just kept getting worse and worse. It couldn't get any worse at this point. And so she said, don't worry, because it's not like off the charts high, but it is higher than what it should be. And it could be endometriosis. So She was like, "You seem to have a lot of inflammation in your body. We think that this could be endometriosis." And so
Mhm.
I'm like, "Fine, whatever." No, there was no sign of PCOS on any of these sonograms. No sign of it. Nothing. I've been told this for 10 to 12 years of my life that I had PCOS, and there was no sign of PCOS anywhere.
Stop.
So
No, I can't even.
yeah, there was no sign of PCOS.
I'm in shock. So this is fairly new. This is fairly recent because here
Mhm.
we are in 2025, in
Yeah.
January 2025, and then you said in February is when, um, they were starting to do the sonograms, and so this is new. This is very
I'm nine
recent.
and I'm 9.5 weeks post-op right now.
My goodness.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I've got chills. So, okay, so she tells you that she doesn't know because she, didn't inject dye, so she just sees that they're masses, but it hasn't spread.
Yeah,
So,
she
you still
mhm,
still don't know.
right.
So then what happens?
So then I meet with this doctor, and she has me do pre-op. I come in, get scheduled for everything, and mind you, I'm very scared of surgery. I've never been put to sleep before. I'm terrified. Like, not only am I having a process that I have masses, I'm about to have a major abdominal surgery, or surgery. I'm
Mhm.
also having come to terms with I might be coming out of this with cancer. I might be having to do chemo. I might be having to go through, I might not even live,
Yeah.
So it was just a scary time. It was a scary time. And so I get pre-op done and everything like that. And she tells me how it's gonna go. And I pump myself up. I get pumped up. I'm like, okay, God's on my side. Like, nothing can be against me with God on my side. I'm gonna beat this. Like, whatever it is, I'm gonna beat it. And so pump myself up. I get in for surgery that day. I think it was like at 5 a.m. I showed up for surgery, and the doctor comes in and talks to me and says, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. After surgery," just gives me the whole rundown.
Mhm.
And so, um, boom, they put me under. They put me under. I just remember getting wheeled off, and they put me under. And I mean, it was like a flash. I woke up. I woke up, and I woke up, and I mean, it didn't even seem like I had been to sleep. I mean, I feel like I blinked and I was awake.
Mm, mhm.
And so I look over and I look at the nurse and I said, "Am I finished? Am I done?" And she goes, "No, they weren't able to complete your surgery." And I'm like, so then they wheel me out like they were just in a rush to get to the next person, get the next person back. They wheel me out into recovery. My husband's waiting there with the most horrible look on his face. And I'm like, what happened? And he said, I would rather, I think he said, I would rather wait for her to tell you, or something like that. And
Right.
so I'm sitting there and waiting for her. I mean, she's already went in to do another surgery. So I'm having to wait an hour, 2 hours for her to come back and talk. So she finally comes back and she has pictures with her and she's showing me everything. And she couldn't find my cervix. She couldn't, I mean, not my cervix, I'm sorry. She couldn't find my uterus. She
Mhm.
couldn't find my ovary. But she said the reason she stopped surgery is because I had a mass connected to my colon. She said there was a huge mass connected to my colon, and she was not the proper doctor to finish this. So she stopped altogether. She stopped her surgery. She took the trocars out because it was one of the robots. So I had 6 incisions on my belly, and got pushed out after 30 minutes and told, "Hey, you got to heal from this, and you're gonna have to go see an oncologist. I'm referring you out to oncology."
So the surgery that she was doing was the hysterectomy, or
Yes.
what you were scheduled for was a hysterectomy, but she couldn't find your uterus, she couldn't find your ovaries, so she had to stop.
She said their uterus was behind the big mass. It had to have been pushing it down or something. She couldn't find it. She couldn't find my ovary. And due to this big mass on my colon, she just needed to refer me to oncology.
My
So
gosh.
yeah, it just went worse. I mean, it got worse and worse after this. So I went home and I started working on oncology because that doctor referred me to oncology. I start calling oncology, and I work for a health system. I'm not gonna say which one, but I work for a health system, and our insurance is we have to see the doctors within this health system.
Mhm.
So I start making these. I live in a small town, and there's only two main hospitals, really. And so I start trying to get in, and they keep saying they can't get my insurance taken care of. They can't get it taken care of. So at this point, I feel like I'm just running like an uphill battle. Like it's just if anything can go wrong, it's gonna go wrong.
Mm.
So I wait for 2 weeks to hear back from oncology, which is who my insurance referred me to, and they say we can't see you. And I'm like, okay, well, y'all are the only ones out here that my insurance take. And they said, the doctors here only do surgery at the other hospital, which is kind of like a rival hospital. And your insurance is not going to cover it here. And the hospital that I work for within my health system does not have a gen oncologist. So at this point, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm literally, I could be sitting here dying. I have no idea if
Yes.
I have cancer, if I don't have cancer, and y'all are telling me nobody can see me. So then I start with this battle of insurance. Yeah,
So,
I
oh my gosh. So how about your family? I mean, I know some of your family members are here, and please chime in if you guys would like. But how about your husband, your family? So I'm thinking, and it sounds like you're pretty close to your siblings. I am as well, and I could only imagine what they were thinking and going through with you, for themselves. Like, oh my God, my sister, she needs this, whatever this is going, whatever this mass is, it needs to be taken out.
yes.
Is it cancer? Is it not? Is it benign? Is it malignant? What is going on? And you keep getting pushed aside, pushed away. Um, it continues to snowball. And I guess, it, how are you feeling? How were you talking to God? Were you saying, what's going on? Why am I wait? What is, because we're
I, I
alive.
talk to I talk to God more than I ever have during this time. I mean, I had fallen to my knees and prayed. I cried. I mean, I've cried more than I probably cried in my whole life.
Mm.
Um, I you know, I just kept asking for a miracle. Like, please let me come out of this. I have young kids. I have a grandson. Like, wasn't ready to check out.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine, Natalie. I'm sure that everything runs through your mind when you're sent to an oncologist and you have these masses, and then you go to have a hysterectomy, and then the doctor says, well, I can't do it. I can't even find it. I can't even imagine. And then you're thinking of your family, your children. You have young children, your grandchild, your husband, your siblings. I'm
And
sorry for that. My gosh, that's too much. It's too much. How your mom, and I never know, are parents still living? Are they gone? Is there a relationship or not? But now that you've said that Sandra is your mom, um, how was she feeling and doing, and uh about all of this?
she was my rock.
Mm.
Yeah, she was my rock. She never batted an eye. She never thought, she didn't tell me if she did, because she
Yes.
lost my dad when I was 2 years old to cancer. And
Mm.
so she was not having it. Like, whether she cried or felt bad or anything in her own time, she never showed me. She
Mhm.
just kept saying, "You're gonna be fine. We're gonna get this out. Like, everything's gonna be okay," and everything like that. So she was always. I mean, I would call her in the middle of the night crying. Whenever I was having heart palpitations, I'd call her in the middle of the night, and she would sit there and talk to me. Um, she'll talk to me even if she's dead asleep. She'll get on that phone and talk to me.
Mm. Mhm. And you understand that, being a mom.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I get it. And I'm sure that, as a mother myself, I'm sure that silently or alone by herself, I'm sure that she was on her knees as well, praying to God and asking,
Yeah.
please save my daughter, help my daughter.
All my siblings did, and my husband for sure. My kids, I mean, everybody. If I didn't have the support system I had, I probably would have given up a long
Mm.
time ago.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Oh man. I mean, just even myself thinking about this, I'm sure you were emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, still not knowing what's going on. So this doctor can't do the hysterectomy. They
Mm-mm.
send you to an oncologist, and then what happens?
So at this point, I'm fighting insurance. So now it's prolonging this whole process. I'm fighting insurance. I'm fighting insurance, and then finally, um, the person with my insurance, I said, what do y'all do? Y'all know that I could die. Like I could die. I might have cancer, and I might die. Like I need to get an appointment. I need to be seen. And so I think when I said that, the person on the other end, he was at first he was very cocky. He was giving me a whole bunch of flax. But after that, he was like, "Hold on for a minute." So he put me on hold, and he was gone for about 45 minutes. And he just couldn't believe that I was telling him that the insurance that I have with him and his company couldn't be seen at that oncologist office because he had a paper in front of him saying that I could. So
Mm,
he's like, I'm gonna call the oncologist office myself and see, I don't, you're wrong. You must be saying something wrong, all these things. So he gets back on, and about 45 minutes later on the phone, and he just sounds spent. He says, yeah, they're not gonna see you. They're not gonna see you. He said, their surgeons will not even do a workup because they don't do surgery at your hospital that you work at. They do it at the other hospital, but my insurance wouldn't cover me going to the other hospital. So it was a nightmare. Insurance is a nightmare. And I want to again say that I wanted to do this podcast because I want you to advocate for yourself.
mhm.
Nobody is going to do it for you. You have to advocate for yourself. You know your body, you know when something in your body does not feel right, and don't ever let someone tell you, that what you're feeling isn't true. So, with that being said, now going back, they think I might have colon cancer at this point because I have a big mass coming off my colon. And so finally, the guy calls me back and he says, "You can be seen in Dallas at UT Southwestern." And I say that hospital's name because it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing that ever happened to me. So I'm like, "Are you sure?" Because I've had this runaround for weeks now. Like, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "No, you can call this place and make an appointment. Um, they're gonna take your insurance." So I called. I make an appointment. I get in to see the doctor. She reviews scans with me. She had the scans that I've already previously done, and she says, "Okay, so we're gonna set you up for surgery, but you have to have a colonoscopy first." She said, "We need to see whatever this mass is, if it's infiltrated inside of your colon."
Mm.
So I'm like, great. Now I'm not only worrying about all these other things, now I think I have colon cancer because that's just the way that it's been presented to me that I probably have colon cancer. Think the worst. I'm just thinking the worst. So I go and I get my colonoscopy done. And again, I have to be put to sleep. I'm already scared of all that kind of stuff. Get put to sleep, wake up, and the doctor says, "You're good to go. You don't have to come back for a year. Everything looks good." So, this is the part of my story where I done brought y'all down. I'm going to start bringing you up. So,
Wait,
he said,
okay, wait, because, um, all of this and this ginormous or this mass and it could be attached or penetrated through your colon and they can't do the hysterectomy because of this. They can't find your uterus, they can't find your ovaries, and then you go and I thank God that Dallas UT is Southwestern is an awesome facility, but uh, for me, I guess being sort of a skeptic, well, I'm a lot of skeptic. Uh, I wake up and then they say, "Okay, you're good to go. You can leave." And I would be thinking, "No, I mean, there's still something wrong. There's still something wrong." So, what are you thinking, Natalie?
to be honest with you, I was ecstatic because he did not see anything inside the colon. Now, again, they said that mass was attached to the outside of the colon. So at this point, I think I still could have colon cancer, but there's nothing that's went to the inside of the colon. So I'm
Okay.
good on that part.
Okay. Okay.
So that kind of brought me up a little bit, like thinking, okay, if I do have something on the outside, it can still be contained to a cyst and not have spread anywhere.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Because a lot of times that's what ovarian cancer, ovarian cysts do. They build up in a sac.
Mhm.
And that's where it gets tricky, because when they go in to take it, they puncture the cyst, and that spills out into the gut.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that's where you get metastasis and things like that, where it can spread everywhere. So
Right.
it's a very tricky thing with all this. um so he says, you're good to go. I'm gonna send your report over to your doctor, and I don't need to. No, he said I don't need to see him for, I think he said 5 years actually. Um, so I go and I'm like telling my husband, okay, there's nothing on the inside of the colon. He didn't see polyps. He didn't see dysplasia. He didn't see anything. So that's a good sign.
Mhm.
So this was on a Friday, June 14th, and my surgery is scheduled for June 16th. So after
Wow.
this, yeah. So after this, my doctor calls me and says, okay, I got this result. Everything looks good on that part. I want you to go get a CT scan before surgery
Mhm.
to see if anything's changed. So I'm like, okay. I go and I set it up. It's right down the street from my job. Go get that and everything. Another person who should not have been putting their 2 cents in. I get the scan, and the person says, wow, that's really big. And it was a man, and he was like, are you having surgery anytime soon? And again, these people are not supposed to be saying this. I work in the healthcare field. You've been in the healthcare field. You're not supposed to comment on anything like this.
Right.
So, um, when he said that, I still hadn't seen the scan. I didn't know anything at this point. So by the end of the day, Friday, she calls me and she says, it's grown. It's no longer 12 centimeters. It's 17 centimeters big. It's big as a football.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. In 6 months, it grew 5 centimeters. So now we're looking at the size of a football.
So in the meantime, are you in pain? And I have so many questions. One thing I'm glad that you stated was to be your own advocate because yes, unfortunately, a lot of doctors will treat you just as the next person and the next person that comes in with a stomach ache.
Mhm.
Something that Julie had mentioned when she went to see the doctor. And again, those people, those of you that are coming in late or listening, I know that Julie and Randy McKissick are also in the title. And the reason that they're not here is because Julie was kept at the doctor's office longer than she thought. She had to um, have some other tests ran. Sorry, I'm trying to get to her comment. Thyroid tests. Let me just read to you guys. She was still at the doctor's office. They were doing an ultrasound for them to see if she has cancer in her thyroid. So she wanted Natalie to come on and share her very important story as well. And it is very important. And my gosh, what a roller coaster ride you've been on, Natalie. And
Mhm.
she said that her doctor sprung this one on her, and so she was very sorry that she couldn't be on, but we'll have her on another time. So this person is saying, "Wow, that's huge. It's a man," and he's saying, "Have you had surgery yet, or are you scheduled to have surgery?"
Are you scheduled to have surgery? Putting 2 comments in when I don't need his 2 comments. I mean, I'm already
Exactly.
scared. Um, I'm already scared to death. I mean, and then now I've got a surgery coming up 3 days from now, 2 days from now at this point, and I'm
Hmm.
still healing. I still have 6 incisions that are healing from 8 weeks ago. I've had to miss work. Like, it's a whole lot of things that were going on. And so that later that evening, my doctor got my scan, and um these people told me that they put in the report I was missing my gallbladder. So at this point, I'm like freaking out because I've always had my gallbladder. I've never had anything. It's just multiple medical things that were insane during this whole process as well. Um, so I'm freaking out because where's my gallbladder? I just had a surgery a couple weeks ago. She didn't take anything out, but I'm missing a gallbladder at this point. So my doctor calls me that evening, my new doctor, my new oncologist, and she's phenomenal. And she gets back to you. She tells you exactly. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She told me from the get go, this is something abnormal that needs to come out of your body immediately. We don't need to play around with it. It needs to come out, but I can't tell you what it is because we don't know. So she calls me that afternoon, that Friday afternoon, 2 days before surgery, and she says, "Okay, your gallbladder's definitely there." She says, "I'm looking at your gallbladder on the scan." So that just another point of that shows how my small town fails me on, like they just, it makes me think they're incompetent. So she says, I'm very much looking at your gallbladder, and I will show you your gallbladder when I see you Monday at surgery because I promise that it's there. And she says, the cyst has the mass has grown to 17 centimeters, and you have a smaller one on the other side. And she said, it is showing infiltration. So it's showing infiltration on your fatty pad. So your fatty pad is your omentum that covers, it's underneath your skin, under a bunch of layers, but it's the very last layer before, that protects your insides. It's
Okay.
called an omentum. And so she says it's showing infiltration. That was not a very good sign at all. She said this, we just got to get it out immediately. So see you Monday at surgery. And so Monday comes and we go to surgery. And by this time, I mean, my blood is so low. I've been in so much pain. I mean, I would get into the point of pain where I want to throw up. Like this, I forgot to add on how much pain I've been in over this whole time as well with my cycles. It's just, it was a crazy amount of pain. So at this point, I'm ready to get surgery. I'm ready to get this out, go
Mhm.
into surgery. Didn't have any blood. They couldn't get to my vein. They had to call in an ultrasound person to come do an ultrasound on me. And I went into the hospital with an 8.5 hemoglobin. And so you probably shouldn't have surgery if you're under a 10. But this was
Mm.
a surgery and it needed to happen. It needed to come out. So she proceeded with the surgery. Um, she said, what we're going to do is halfway into surgery, I'm going to start taking things out, and it's called a frozen pathology. So I'm at a cancer hospital at this point, and she says, halfway through your surgery while you're under, and I'm taking things out, I'm sending them off to pathology. They're doing a frozen path to see if this is cancer. And if it
Okay.
is cancer, we're going to take everything we can out. I mean,
Mhm.
we're going to take it out anyway, but we may need to take more things out. And so I'm like, I don't care at this point. Like, I can be a shell. Just take whatever you need to take out. I want to live. Like, just take everything
Mhm.
out. And so I wake up. My surgery turned into, she also tried to do a robotic surgery. So at this point, I have 6 incisions from the first surgery, 5 incisions from this surgery, and she decides we're not going to be able to get this thing out through robotic laparoscopic surgery. We're going to have to cut you open abdominally. And so at that point, she made the decision. My surgery was 6 hours long, 6.5 hours long, and I lost a good amount of blood. Had to have multiple blood transfusions.
Mhm.
So she gets everything out. I wake up, and she says, "You don't have cancer. You don't have cancer at all."
Oh my gosh.
She
Oh my
said.
gosh.
She said she took the big old mass out, football size mass, and she said it was endometriosis.
Wow.
It was a endometrioma is what it was. And it was,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So she took that out, and she says, okay, so she took the mass out. She did the whole hysterectomy, took out my cervix, she took out ovaries. She said The mass that they thought was connected to my colon was my ovary that the first doctor couldn't find. My ovary had been pushed back and covered in endometriosis. So that looked like a mass to her.
Oh my gosh.
I had nodules all over my intestines. Um, I could insert pics if y'all want to see those, but I had nodules all over that they took out. She didn't know what the nodules were. And she said everything came back as endometriosis, stage 4 endometriosis. You
I
do
didn't
not
even
have.
know endometriosis had stages.
Yes, it has stages. I've never even been told that I had endometriosis, but apparently I probably didn't have PCOS. I probably had endometriosis this whole time. So she says, recover here for 3 days. You're going to get a final pathology report. So we're telling you don't have cancer, but we need to wait for you to get the final pathology back from the pathologist to
Mhm,
be able to say for sure.
mhm.
So I healed. I had like 37 staples in my stomach. All these things. And a week later, I got my results back, and they were all benign. My fatty pad, my ovaries, my cervix, my uterus that she couldn't find. Um, they ended up taking out my appendix because they were covered in endometriosis. Every single thing in my body was endometriosis.
Your brother says if Natalie would have waited any longer or put it off longer, no telling how big the mass could have gotten. So another
Yeah.
reason not to wait about anything.
Yeah. And
Oh,
those masses can turn into cancer as well. But luckily, endometriosis can definitely turn into cancer, is what my oncologist told me. And you never want to put anything off like that off. I've been very blessed on my journey. Like I don't. What I told my husband when he walked in to see me after I woke up from surgery, don't have a face on because I read your energy and I can tell your face. And he walked in and he said, "It's a boy." And it was so big and he's like, "It's a boy," just trying to make light of the situation. And by the smile that I saw on his face, I knew that it wasn't cancer and that I could finally breathe again. I wasn't going to die. Like all my everything that had just been floating around in the air just all reeled back into reality.
oh my gosh. Uh, wow. I don't even know what to say. I mean, other than first of all, thank you, Natalie, for coming on to share your story. Um, and for saying to be your own advocate. And just like your brother, Donnie says, don't wait. I mean, that goes hand in hand with being your own advocate. My younger brother is a lot like that. And he's like, I want the CT scan. I want the MRI. I want you to
Mm-hmm.
check. Because a lot of times doctors will, and I don't know why, I mean, would brush you off or say, oh, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think it's because they would rather treat you with modern medicine, and the more that you're coming back to them, the more you're taking medication, you're getting the pharmacy, the people that make the pills and things like that. I mean, it's all a revolving circle of their life. It's kickbacks, it's things like that. Oh, let's try this, let's try that. If the doctor tries this, they get a kickback for that.
Mm.
And I think that's why they do it. Some doctors just don't care, but then there is some doctors that really care, like the one that I found in the end. And another thing that I want to say before we get off of here is that a period you should not be bleeding out. You should not have big golf ball size clots in your period. That is not normal. You should never have that. You shouldn't be filling up more than a pad or two a day. That's a normal period. I couldn't even wear a tampon if I wanted to, and I'm sorry to get so graphic, but
No, it's
um
fine.
any kind of pain, you know what a normal threshold is of pain for a period. If it feels like it's just like, oh my god, I need a heating pad, it might not be normal and you might want to get it checked out.
Mm. Your mom says that you had a wonderful doctor. What
I
is your doctor's name? Can you share that?
Yeah, her name is Dr. Elizabeth Stock at UT Southwestern, and she is amazing. She's so amazing. I just could not rant enough about her.
Mm. I can't even imagine. Natalie, I really can't. I mean, try to put myself in all of my guests' situations, and I think you described it perfectly when you said, "I could breathe again."
Mhm.
I can't even imagine, I'm sure, just
Yeah,
bawling. I would be bawling, find out, "My gosh, I don't have cancer."
I
Thank
did,
God that
and
I
I cried so many nights, and I just talked to God and talked to God, and I'm a big advocate for believing in God, and I know that I would not be here without Him. I would
Mhm.
not be where I'm at without God because He had a hand in something. My doctor came out of that and told me someone's got a hand over you, like somebody's got a hand over you because she did not think I was gonna have that outcome, not even her. There and for all the things, I have a long list of everything they took out. I mean, it was about 7 or 8 different things, and everything says benign, benign, benign. It's all endometriosis stage 4, and she did not even think I was gonna have that outcome. So
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
very, I'm very blessed, and that's why I really want to tell Julie, and I have told Julie to hold on to hope because you never know, and they do not know anything until they take it out and send it for pathology. Nobody can look at a scan and tell you. They have to send for pathology before they can tell you exactly what this is.
So, let me ask you this, do you ever get scared? Do you ever think, "I hope that's what it was," or do you not? I mean, do you think, God is good and I'm good, or I mean, we're human.
Mhm.
Do you ever worry, or do you think, I'm good to go"?
Nope, I think I'm good to go. I 100% trust what she did. Um, I think I just, it was almost, I mean, the peace that came over me the day that she told me that, and several different surgeons came in to see me that day. And why they did, I don't know. But I remember being in recovery on the second, or it might have been the first day or second day. But several surgeons came in to see me, and they all told me that, like, wow, you are like, uh, we're happy for you. Like, we're happy for you
Yes,
because she had several surgeons in with her. She had, I think, at least 3 surgeons in with her trying to do my surgery. Because it was just that big, and it was complicated. I was losing
yeah,
blood. It
mhm.
was just a complicated surgery. Um, and yeah, I just trust her to the fullest. Of course, I'll probably have another scan at some point a year from now or so. But yeah, I feel like I'm fully healed, and I feel like that saved me from a lot of other, cancers that I could have gotten later on. They took my
Yes,
cervix, that takes out cervical cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, um, everything. So
yes, thank God. Oh my gosh, thank God. And like you said, Natalie, I am so glad that Julie has such a great support system and, prayer warriors and people that have gone through, and thank God, that you have gone I say thank God that you've gone through what you've gone through so that you can share with others, to be their own advocate, to have several opinions, doctors' opinion fire doctors, if they are
yeah, fire
putting you
good,
off,
fire
or
good.
leaving a message, "Hey, you might wanna go and get some cancer blood
Hmm.
work done." I'd be like, "What the freak?" Yeah.
Yeah. And back when I told you I went to get the cancer blood work, whenever they whenever she was talking, she found that mass. I did a CA 19.9. So my first cancer blood work was CA 125. They had me go back and do a CA 19.9, which that's when the mass was on the colon, and that came elevated too. It was very elevated. So that even gave them more, before they took it out and knew what it was, that even gave them more fuel to think, okay, this might be bad. But the truth is that endometriosis causes inflammation, and those are inflammation markers. And to be honest, they should not be even testing people with those, because those are for people that already have cancer, and they're
Oh,
having chemo, and it tests the marker, the line of where it should be. So if they are testing at a 200, and then they start chemo and it goes down to 75, you know that the chemo is working. So it shouldn't really be a marker for before that.
wow, wow. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I mean, well, I'm oh man, yeah. I'm so glad that you came on. There was a reason for this. Somebody somewhere
Yes.
listening, whether now or later. This also streams through Roku
Okay.
on Thursdays, so it goes out to uh, other platforms as well as other countries. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful, that you come on and share also because my daughter, has been diagnosed with PCOS, I mean, just and I know other people that will be listening
Mhm.
that has also been diagnosed with PCOS and, other people that have been diagnosed with endometriosis. There's so much to your story. There is so much to your story, and I really think I take from the nuggets that I take is be your own advocate. Sometimes, like your brother said, sometimes it is good to get a second opinion if you don't feel comfortable, if you can.
Mhm.
And but yes, and that way you're also praying for our friends Julie and Randy.
Yes.
Yes. Natalie, let me ask you this question before we go. First of all, is there anything else that you would like to share before we go off the air? Now that this is a platform where you can share whatever it is that you feel like you need to share.
Yeah, I want to share one more thing. Working in OB-GYN for so many years, it's a big problem with women getting a sonogram, an ultrasound. The insurance does not approve them often. You know, you literally almost have to be pregnant for them to do a ultrasound, and they don't even hardly do them. They do maybe one or two while you're pregnant
Mhm.
now. But I would like to say that if you ever want to cheat the system, and I do want y'all to cheat the system because you need to have a sonogram. I think every year when you have a pap smear that you should have an ultrasound with it because I did not know I had a 12-centimeter mass in my belly. You know, I did know that I was not fitting in things right and things like that, but I had no idea what was going on inside of there. And they will not do them just to do them. So I highly recommend every year or every other year, whenever you go get your pap smear, to tell them you're having pelvic pain. Pelvic pain. Be sure you say that you're having pelvic pain so that you can get yours covered by your insurance.
Mm, thank you for that. And and
Yeah.
and I'm actually taking some notes, even though I will go back and listen and watch this because my daughter has PCOS. And I it's so important. It is so important. And I know so there was a TikTok influencer that was actually she was going to come on to my radio show when I was on radio. And 2 days before she was scheduled to come on, uh, she died, and she had uterine cancer, and it had attached to, um, her stomach, the walls of her colon as well, and she, wanted to come on. She was also a huge advocate for um, getting sonograms, getting in there
Mhm.
and having your pap smears, getting your yearlies done, and, she's a huge advocate for that
Yeah.
on TikTok, and I'm sad that she was not able to come on and share. I'm sad for her battle and her loss, and her children's and her husband's loss as well, and I appreciate you so much coming on and sharing. Let me ask you this, I ask everybody the same question at the end of my podcast. After everything that you've been through, Natalie, who would you say that you are today? Who is Natalie today? Who are you today?
I would just say that I am strong. Like I'm stronger than I've ever been.
Mm,
I have more like hope in every day. Like I feel like it's just a second start for me, like a new fresh
mm,
start for me to be alive and do things that I have thought about doing, wanted to do. It's another day to be a mom. It's another day to be a wife and my mother's daughter, my sister's sister, my brother's sister. Like it's just another day, and it's a day
mm,
that I didn't think that I was going to get. Like I thought, I didn't think that I was going to have the outcome I did. So it's definitely a second chance for me to be a better me, for
mm.
sure.
I love that. I absolutely love that because I just recently, shared a post that, don't what are you waiting for, in terms of living? Don't wait. Don't wait. And having a second chance at life, I'm sure that your perspective on life is just greater. Like you said, doing things that you want to do or that you may have put off to do. It's a second
Yeah.
chance in life. And that's beautiful.
And
Oh
I'm
my God.
actually I'm actually 40 years old and I'm going back to school. I start in December because I'm going to be doing imaging. I'm going to be an MRI tech and doing imaging for
Well,
people. Yeah.
congratulations. Let us know where you are so we can come
Yeah.
find you and we can all come and get our our images taken by you
Yes.
because we know that you would take care of us. We need more Natalies. And congratulations on going back to school. And
Thank you.
congratulations on being cancer free and not having
Yes.
cancer. And thank you to your brothers and your sisters and your mom for coming on and supporting you and supporting this podcast and for loving you and for saying those prayers for you and being that support system, and your
Yes.
husband as well for being
Yes.
there for you. Thank you
I
so
love them
much.
all.
It draws you closer to God and it gives us hope.
Yes.
So
It does.
thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. And we will be back on with Julie and Randy McKissick as soon as they can come back on. We're praying for you, Julie. I know you're listening. Randy, we're praying for you too, and your family, your children. It affects everybody. It does. And Natalie, thank you again so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
and for sharing. And I appreciate you coming on and joining us so much. And I thank everybody else for coming and joining and being here for us and for being here with Natalie. Please continue to pray for Randy and for Julie and their family as they're, I know, worried. I know they're stressed out. I mean, gosh, we heard it from Natalie herself that once she found out that she didn't have cancer, she could breathe. So we know what they are going through. We know what you're going through, Julie, that you are just hanging on to that hope that God can provide and the prayers and the support that your friends and family are giving you. We know, and we're with you. And please know, if there's anything that we can do to help you, we will. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and for sharing this podcast. And stay tuned for Julie and Randy McKissick to come on when they're able to. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your prayers. And until next time, we will see you then. Y'all have a good night.
This is your Prospera era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez,